Okay, so now we are live. Welcome. This is Just Ask Nancy. I am here today with my brother Choco Millionaire. I've been meaning to talk to him for like a very, 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 very long time.
I check.
I check. And I am so happy, sir. He's made the time to talk to me today. I'm
Yeah.
very grateful that he's found the time for me because I've disappointed him like twice already. I was in Italy chilling, and I was in the UK, just Mabaso. But
Yeah.
today, today I am glad that he's taking the time to talk to me. I want us to talk about fatherhood abroad. Why is this very important? Because most of the time, most of us, when I make videos about marriage or about fatherhood, my main content is about traveling abroad. But when I make videos about fatherhood or family abroad, it kind of triggers people. Right now, the hashtag Miss Nancy has over one, I think, I'm very close to 1 billion now. This hashtag. So Miss Nancy is trending because I said, I made a comment about, life abroad, family abroad. I am a conversation starter, so I am not afraid of controversies. I love controversies because it creates a space for us to have healthy discussions.
Yeah.
So who more can I have a healthy discussion and an honest discussion with if it's not with my brother Choco Millionaire? Anyway, so Charmino, thank you once again for making the time to talk to us. I'm really, really grateful because I know that you're a very busy father, husband, content creator, change maker, community, everything. I know you are, but I would like for us to start this conversation by talking about like your personal journey. Can you tell us about your personal experience as an African father living in Canada? Like, what is your personal experience so far?
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm one of your top fans. I did feel you rough. When I look at you, I'm like,
the feeling is mutual.
The feeling is great, man. When I see you, I see me. Your mindset, the way you roll, the way you say things, just as they are. The first day I came across your post, thanks to Amma Manson. Amma Manson will build the more. Mr. Robert Dasepa, big thanks to you. When I saw your name on her page, and I decided to just click. I watched your video for like 2-3 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I think she's the one. She's the one. I've been looking for somebody who is just like me, somebody who is like straightforward, and you just say things as they are, and you just believe in what you it's not like you're always right. You want people to have conversation, respectful conversations, and that's just who I am too, right? So I want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. People who know you well will know that, Charlie, you are the realest woman out there they should be connecting with, all right? And so just make sure you are following her. This woman is loaded. She's on a different level altogether. Thank you so much for having me here. So I became a father. My name is Choco Millionaire. For those who don't know me on Just Ask Nancy's channel, my name is Choco Millionaire. And just to be clear, we say I get millions from my pocket. Even if I get 10 I go invest that. Within my pocket is like, right? The millionaire is more of a mindset and the way I think and where we're heading and all of that, right? Choco Millionaire. I grew up in Choco, mostly in Choco, even though I was born in Mipom in the Asamankese area of Eastern region, but I grew up in Choco. I became a father in Canada, but my fatherhood mindset in terms of the things I had imbibed or learned consciously and unconsciously as a child or a young boy growing up and seeing around were mostly things that I brought from Africa or things I picked from Africa. So I became a father in Canada. And in 2019, when we had Joanna, my beautiful daughter Joanna, who is 3 years old, almost 4, and I have a son as well, John Henry. You can call him Sedem. Sedem is 2 years old. He just turned 2 in June. So I have 2 kids, became a father in Canada. I will say that the fatherhood experience and the things that shaped me were mostly things I picked from Africa. And as time went by, I also picked a lot of things from here in Canada as well, and generally learning from people out there. But majority of it, the mindset, if the African wires were in my head inside. So it's looking at maybe we did Canada, the wires are the African. That'd be how it did. Like, how has it been? It's been It's been a sweet experience. I find fatherhood to be a privileged position, or a privilege for anybody who has the opportunity to go through it, to embrace. We also are aware that not so many people get a chance to become fathers. There are many people who are not able to father their own kids. Some have had to adopt and all of that. We understand that not all men are the same, but this is a unique privilege that if anybody gets a chance to embrace, do it wholeheartedly. It is a position of influence. It's a position of reflecting God, in my opinion. A father is God's representation on earth. So if the father lives up to the standard, even if not all of it, closer to it, this world becomes a sweeter place, like a land full of milk and honey, just because fathers are out there and are reflecting, and they are deputizing the role of God on earth, right? And for me, that is the most beautiful thing. The fact that I'm in a position to not just give birth to kids, but to nurture them, to put things in them, to shape them, to coach them, and to do all of that and watch them transform and transform and transform and blossom, and just be out there and just be counted as useful citizens of the world. That's beautiful. I can almost just assure you from my side, in terms of work, that I'm not raising kids that will be part of the working statistics out there. That when you count all the people in jail and stuff, my kids are there, it won't happen. So because of me being a father, this world ought to be better. And that is the privilege we have as fathers who can shape this world. And that is what I can say about my own experience here.
It's great that you said that your experience about fatherhood, you brought some from from Ghana, and you have adopted some from here as well, because it leads to my second question. How different do you see fatherhood abroad from fatherhood in Ghana? Because I ask this because we want to Japan. Everybody wants to Japan. But for me, the process of Japan is not the main goal. The main goal is to do something different from what our parents, to have different experiences from, like there's something else. So what are the main differences that you noticed?
I think the differences have undertones of culture, mostly culture, culture, religion, and general beliefs or mindsets of people. If you look at fathers from Africa, there is a way they conduct themselves. If you compare them with fathers from Asia, fathers from India, fathers from the Middle East, fathers from Western Europe and the Northern Hemisphere, there are differences. And most of the differences are mostly cultural. They are value systems that make all these differences. In Africa, our fatherhood system is built on power. It's built on power, it's built on control, it's built on influence, it's built on dominance, it is built on recognition, it's built on respect, it's built on authority, it's built on patriarchy, where men, everything centers around men, right? So when you compare it with that of the West, even though it might not be, say, 100% true for all cases in the West, on a larger scale, you can tell that in the Western culture, they also believe that men are very, very key in playing a role. But as times have gone on, this has been mostly diffuse, and the lines are a little bit more blurry. So women are also equally up there playing key roles, and men are also doing so. I think one advantage that we have back home is that fathers are still considered as the foundation of the family structure and the pillar of the family structure. In the Western culture, this has eroded largely. We're getting to a point where there are so many people who don't even want to identify themselves as fathers, right? People would rather have kids out there and not be in their lives. People would just birth and just be gone. It is more of like a pleasure relationship now in the West, all right? So people just make babies, but Charlie, no picture. You see the child somewhere, the father somewhere, the father is either in jail or somewhere. This is not true for everybody, though, but that be the picture. Back home, we are more like a unit, a close-knit unit, right? But here, Charlie, it be different. Then get some good side. There are good sides here. Nonsense to plenty. But I like the African concept, except that there are always excesses in society to society, things that we can always improve on and things we can learn as new generation and get better. Yeah.
I I just came back from London, and one of the things that I would say, if you're a London boy and you're watching me, maybe you hate me after this, but one of the things that I find very strange about like London boys is every London boy has like 3-4 baby mamas. And every London boy I know, so if you're a London boy and I know you, that is true. You are not with one woman. You have 3-4 baby mamas, right? And every London boy I know complains that all the Ghanaian women want to be single parents. So there's like this friction, like, okay, who is creating the single motherhood? You have 3 baby mamas, so you have created 3 single mothers. And that, what do you think is the main challenge? That is, I don't know whether it's Western society that is attacking fatherhood or Western society that's attacking marriage. What is the main challenge that African families face now? Because the ladies are saying it's the men are, but since you are a man, I want to know from a man's perspective, what is the main challenge?
It's the same here in North America too. In Canada, it's pretty much the same. The rate at which you see single moms or kids without fathers in their life, physically present in their life, is insane. And if I compare it back home, even though we also have this back home, the numbers here are a little bit more scary.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is largely because of the cost involved in being a father. When I say the cost involved, not just monetary cost, like it comes the price you pay for being a father is serious. Mm-hmm. Now, here, the systems here work. And when we say the systems here work, simply mean the laws work. They are enforced to the latter. Now, I have a father who is still alive. I come from a very, very large family. I have over 10 siblings, probably over a dozen. Sometimes I have to sit and be counting and see whether I miss some of my siblings. Right? Now, with all these many siblings that I have, imagine if you have a father who probably is not able to take care of you or doesn't physically involve themselves in your upkeep, ignores you, your upkeep, you don't have a place to live, no shelter, no clothing, no food, nothing. In the West, this father will be brought to the books. How? Mm-hmm. Okay, that father can make a baby and can abandon the child, may decide not to be physically present, but the law will compel the father to perform certain duties, right? So, for example, like those who they pay child support money, so long as you put your spend for them, you go pay. If you don't understand, go and ask someone will tell you. That's what, some things we do in the past where we put sperm for them, where we don't know how to say those sperms, they germinated. We didn't know if the water touch them way is germinate. Some years later on, they go take you go court where you go pay. You will be paid. You will be paying and paying and paying. Charlie, where the way they design them own for here. You know, we say you go choose to pay. They go deduct time from the source. They go deduct time before you go get your salary self. Okay, so if you don't understand, I make a take them to Ghana. Imagine say you impregnate Adwa Kambu. Sorry, they cannot use Adwa Kambu. Adwa Kampiko, right? For one village. Where you come across, where you impregnate Memunaki. Where you the unborn. So the two of them are the boy. You go chokot, you go find na Toshi for there where you go fire that one to where you the unborn. So 3 different women. But you did that, you say you be Takum. What I say, oh, Takum. So you did Tarzan, you just they shoot, hey, they shoot, no repay. Right? Imagine the Ghana government, they fee garnish the child support money. Will be monthly payment too. They garnish them from your salary. So you the job for EcoBank, you there EcoBank they work before your 2,000 Ghana go land. 300, 400 Ghana. Child number 1 for village, you get them. Mother get them. Right? Child number 2 where you born for Accra into get them. Choco 2, that one get them. So the 3 children you get for 400 Ghana times 3, that be 1,000. You they make 2,000, right? So the government will take in 1,000, they go take all of that and finish the balance they go take give you. You see, imagine say this thing they work for Africa. Like all the men we will get sense. So hey, like we will get sense. Imagine say they do them so. Like we the men will get sense. We will know the difference between pleasure and they will know the difference between giving birth.
You right? Choose consciously.
But Africa, that thing no deal. Maybe apart from maybe 1 or 2 countries, maybe in South Africa, I'm guessing South Africa will have something like that. But in Ghana, we know they do. So Ghana, we will just catch the women with the, with the fire, left, right, with the fire. So when you watch around, Charlie, plenty single moms, no support. And the government systems are not working, no support. If you even go to the authorities, some of the social services or institutions out there, nobody really cares. You go to Waju to go and report, nobody cares. I'm saying this on authority as somebody who has been through it. Me, growing up as a child, when I felt that needs were not being provided, like basic needs, there were times when I went all my family members, extended family, grandparents, to tell them, man, I need basic things. Nobody will care. These things cannot happen in Germany.
Never.
With the father. But
Never.
basically, these are some of the differences. So I think that systems encourage people to mess up more. Where systems don't work, where laws don't work, people are more likely to mess up them more. If you live in countries where systems work, there is a tendency that people will be a little bit more disciplined. So look at it here. The reason why a lot of men do not want to become fathers is that, Charlie, the thing, they mess up, the thing will deal with them. So some of them, they go shoot where they just go pay child support, where they go run away. Because they know when they are there, Charlie. Number two, the inheritance laws here actually work.
It works.
It's not like Africa where you can be married to somebody for 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden, when the man passes away, extended family members go kind of like maybe Chadwick Boseman, Wakanda, the guy who do Wakanda who died, then you go see extended family members from far away, and they can't say, woman, go this way,
Go
you
away.
don't belong. No, that nonsense what they work for here. That nonsense. Your grandmother or your aunties and your uncles cannot come and just be making clips. Those things don't work. So here, there is so much protection for married people, especially women, heavily protected. And because of that, men are careful, especially those of us men who may not be lucky or maybe intentionally marry the wrong ones. When the wrong women get us today, if you deal with us where if
you don't choose correctly, for me,
if you don't choose correctly,
for me, I think that is it. Like when the last time I was in one of the Facebook chats, live chats, and we were talking about, I mean, men were blaming women, women were blaming men, and I was like, the thing is, if you don't choose your partner correctly, I mean, choosing your partner, that is the most important decision you will ever make in your life. But so many of us choose it based on certain factors that we later find out will not sustain us. You understand? So let's say maybe chocolate like big boobs or big nyash, and you use that to choose, or chocolate likes a woman who, I don't know, for something, but you don't choose based on some characteristics that you know can sustain you. The outside is great, but when you have a bad day at work and you come back, who is this person to you? When you lose your job abroad, you are so vulnerable. How will this person hold you down? How good is this person with money? How will she handle your finances? How can she even read and write? Can this person even help your kids with homework? There are so many things that we don't check when we choose a partner. For me, like this, one of the biggest things that later became like a friction in my own relationship was budgeting. I am a budgeter. My husband doesn't think there's any need to budget, and I am coding, so I like to count the pennies and the cents and everything. And he's always like, that's not how to live. You have to live freely, and and every time you will buy something or do something, I'm like, no, let's not do that, So I realized that we did not discuss that, we discussed a lot of things, but we missed that part. And then that was a friction that we had to somehow, work through it. The second thing we didn't talk about how to discipline kids, because like you said, I also came with my own African ideas of how to discipline a child, and he has his own. And I was like, he's trying to spoil my kids for me. I need my kids to be tack. And he was also like, why are you so aggressive? Why are you this? Oh, he was seeing me like I'm being too aggressive. I was seeing him like he's being too soft. So we somehow had to find the middle point. But I think for so many of us, we don't even have this conversation when we choose somebody to marry. We marry because of so many things, mainly because our parents never sat us down to even tell us how to choose somebody. Like personally, growing up, nobody ever had a conversation with me about choosing a life partner. Nobody ever told, these are the characteristics or personality traits you should look out for. This is what a good husband is, or something. I just felt like all I was told was go school. That was the only thing, One goes to better ice water or cans. If you don't go to school, you're going to end up poor.
Yeah.
So my main focus was just going to school so I don't end up poor. But it did not teach us these things about marriage. And I think that is where most of our challenges starts from, right? So talking on what you just said, like the laws work. In our countries, the laws don't work. Laws are there to protect most of the time the vulnerable. And we know in the marriage setting, the woman is the vulnerable person.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. So for us women, when we come abroad and we find out we are not vulnerable any longer, we find out we have institutions behind us, laws behind us. There are sometimes non-governmental organizations we can go and talk to and so on. Then this structure we have in Ghana that works, where the woman doesn't have so much, so no matter which nonsense she's going through, she has to stay. That thing is removed. And once that thing is removed, and the man also doesn't have anything else to stand on to bring, you know, because all the hold I have on you is my money. And now you have your own money and you live in a society that tells you that you can be whatever you want to be. Then I feel like African families break down. And it hurts me because in Germany, African families, we have no social capital, none at all. We have no social standing. Summertime, we don't see the African fathers anywhere taking their kids to the pool, to the park, nothing. We don't see our African fathers working at banks. We don't see our African fathers holding any position of power at all. It's completely removed. And our African mothers, we only see them as single mothers struggling all the time. And I don't think that we can build a great society if our family structure is weak. That is why I bring out these conversations, because it's important we have them instead of like blaming each other and so on. How is the family structure? How should an African father hold the family structure together on his part?
I think the first thing an African father needs to realize is to recognize that the position they hold as a father is very key. In fact, it is probably the most important leadership role in all of society, a father. Many of us think it's a politician, like the presidents and stuff. The presidents actually are like fathers for the entire nation. The father at home is the father of that small, like delegated father in that small space. So you have to realize or recognize that you are occupying a serious unpaid position, right? Serious one. If you have this mindset, it helps you to actually see yourself differently and notice that anything you do directly or indirectly impacts your child. Now, if I'm aware now that whatever I do is I'm emanate or I'm giving out influence and it's going out and my kids are seeing it, of course, before I smoke before my children, I'll think twice. Before I pull out that joint, I'll think twice. Before I grab a bottle of champagne in front of my kids, I'll think twice. Before I use certain words, I'll think twice. But if I don't see myself as a source of influence, how then do I become aware of how I'm influencing my children? Many of us, some of the things we do, we pick them from our parents. Some of our parents don't even know. Some of our parents don't even know that the first ever whatever adult movie that we watch came from them to us. Yeah. There are some of us today, the first time we ever saw an adult movie was because our fathers
or even an adult newspaper. It used to come from Holland and things like that when I was young. And the first time it was some grown up who hid it somewhere, and you know, children
and then we saw it.
That is
it. They didn't know. They didn't know we could have access to these things, right? They themselves would be enjoying it. They will leave it somewhere. They will leave that piece of thing they smoke somewhere. They don't know we are picking them. So if you see yourself in this position, it changes everything. There are certain words that can never be used in my house so long as I'm alive. My wife cannot use it. I myself, I cannot use it. And I set the standard. As a father, I make the rules at home. Everybody obeys it, starting from me. I'm not above it. Right? In my house, you can't come and use certain words. Never. Never. But you see, if you are not the type of father that understands this position you occupy, how then do you establish or enforce the standards that you yourself you set? It starts with you. And it doesn't mean that you're making the rules and you're above it. No, you start by leading by example. You are a leader. In fact, I'm a Christian, so let me use it. Christ said that he has a relationship with the church, and that relationship is like the relationship with the groom and the bride. Christ himself describes himself as the groom, and he describes us as the church, as his bride. And then he said, you, the father of this marriage, you are the one to represent me as the groom. You are the head. So whatever you do, just know that you are supposed to do it just like me. So if we don't see ourselves like this, how we go figure they behave like this and say we are the leaders of we are the Christ-like figures now? We can't. It starts with you recognize. The moment I came to this consciousness, it changed everything. Wow. But until then, unconsciously, and I want us to pay attention here, most of us unconsciously will do many of the things we saw around us when we were growing up. Yep. The way your father raised you is more likely what you are automatically going to be like as a father. Yep. The way your mother raised you unconsciously is what you'll be. Why? Birds of the same kind are more likely to just become the same. Yeah. You've been hanging around your parents all your life. What do you think you're going to be like?
Going to copy from them. No matter.
It's easy, right? So when I became conscious of this, it changed everything. How do I go about this? Setting the standards at home, spiritually, setting the standards, physically, financially, setting those standards, relationally, setting those standards. There are different goals or standards that fathers can create. One of them is spiritual goals. Now, I used to have this erroneous mindset, typical African Christian mindset, that me, the man, I'm supposed to be the non-spiritual one. My wife is supposed to be the
interceding
one. So many of us, for you. We sleep through the night, and our wives are the ones who are supposed to stand. Hey, they are the ones with the prayer room. We don't have a prayer room. They are the ones to do all the intercession. We don't. No. This is wrong. You, the father, you are the high priest of the home. Yeah. That sanctuary you call your home, you are the high priest. Your wife is not the high priest. You are. You don't abandon your spiritual role and say that your wife should be the one to lead. How? You are the leader in every way. You are the leader in every way. You are the leader in every way. Your wife is just your partner. Partner here means she's here to help you execute that vision. And you the father, if you don't see this, that was one of the things I had. I say, me, I go to sleep, then my wife way. There were times where I used to, early stages of our marriage, I used to ask her, so you won't wake us up to pray? So, hey, you are having seen you say we should do this. So no, it shouldn't be so. Me, it be me way for doing. Yeah. Some of us will be there on our fathers, they don't lead us spiritually in any way. Wayward, so if you're on a mother, so the mothers where they wake us, see how we did it. We'll be pretending we are sleeping. Mothers, because fathers have abandoned their role. The moment a father abandons their spiritual role, the family will begin to break down.
It will break up.
Physically, in the physical realm, a father has to be there physically too. Financially, a father has to be there. And the financial here simply means that a father has to be the steward of the material blessings of God in the life of the family. You are the steward. You are not just the gatekeeper blocking things here and there. You are the steward. God is entrusting in your care these blessings financially, money, not just money, different things that is blessing you with, that you will be the one to account for it. There are many, many homes today that fathers are really good at making money, but we lack the management skill of money. I am not perfect, but it is an area I am super conscious of. And I work every day to become better and better. As a father, you need to be financially smart. You need to know how money works. You need to know how to make money without sacrificing too much. When I say too much, you don't make money and lose yourself in the process. Many of us will make all the money, but they'll be left with skeletons to enjoy them. Why? Because we lost ourselves in the process. There are many of us who work 3-4 jobs today. And after making all the money, we won't even live around long to enjoy them. Why? We sacrifice the hard work of making money with our health. We need to be smart in terms of making money. Everything in the 21st century is smart, isn't it? We humans have to be smart too. And by smart, it simply means the ways we work to chase the money there, we need to start sitting back and ask ourselves, what is the best way to do this as fathers? Because here is the thing, men find joy or fulfillment in the work of their hand. A man's fulfillment comes from their job. That is why if you want to make a man feel so useless in life, just attack his job. Make him feel that he's a nobody. Make him feel that he doesn't do anything. A man derives satisfaction from their job because it is a job that gives them the identity. It is the job that gives them pleasure. You see a man that works so hard, when he comes home and then the wife receives the fruit of the work he's done home, right? He's going to win he won the bread and brought it home.
Right.
That is what gives
and
us.
he feels very good about himself.
He feels really good. So the moment a man is not able to thrive in that area, you see the man's life looking some way. Many of us, you see our frustration as men, they are coming from work, stress of the work, the fact that we are not succeeding, we are putting in work, but it's not. By the time the man comes here, his whole day is gone, he's messed up. And then you see them are transferring the anger to you. Why? Because they are defined by their work. They are defined by their work. They find duty. Men are called to that sense of duty, right? We men of the 21st century, we have to start asking ourselves, what is the best way for us to work, especially to thrive in areas of our giftings, areas of our skill set, areas of our passion, areas of our interest, our talent, in such a way that we'll find real fulfillment in doing these things. When we find fulfillment in our job, when we come home, we are happy husbands. Watch every man who is successful. When they come home, they are the nicest. Me, way they see where I smile today. Sometimes you come see me for Canada, you're like, my eyes make red. As you say, one row, I go visit Bernard Boy, I go visit Shatawa, we go do something for the corner. You see, but like now I feel more relaxed and more fulfilled just because like I'm in my zone. Like I feel like I've kind of figured out that my zone is here, right? So if you're a wife watching right now and you see your man is so stressed from work, it is possible the man is not in his zone yet. And some of the things you can do is to pray that God reveals himself to him so that he can see himself more, that his true self will be revealed. Or sometimes what you can do is to just figure out if there are any areas of improvement. Is there any new skill he can do? Is there any polishing he can do? Is there any new set of friends he can make or new people he can meet to just take his business to the next level? And men tend to actually appreciate women who support them the most. Most men will never leave a supporting wife. Most men, if you build with them from the scratch and you help them to build that stuff, most men, unless that man is just a different kind of breed, ungrateful person who doesn't really know himself, most men will stick with you if you help them. And that is why they actually love women who come to actually compliment them to actually build a future, right? So when a man goes out to propose, even though a true man, let me talk about a true man. A true man here will mean the man who knows himself. He knows his identity. A true man does not pitch material success to a woman. No, a true man does not pitch his sex past and soft to a woman. A true man, his pitch to a woman, his dream wife, is his vision. A true man. Yeah. A true man. Especially the hustlers. When they see you, they say, I come just as I am, but this is the vision. And this is how much I believe in. In fact, when you get close to them, you can tell you yourself you believe in it. If you near any man with a vision, hey, just look, let me just give you some people. Can you just go back and just remember what exactly Pastor Mensa Otabil possibly told the wife when he was just starting life? It has to be something, it has to be something big. That woman has to see that thing and say, oh my goodness, this man has got a vision. Me, when I met her, that's what I saw. I didn't have anything. I saw her, I said, me, I'll be great. I said, I'll be great. As a woman, I'll be great. You can come with me or you can stay. Yes. And they can tell you they are fine. Some of our men are really fine. They pitch their handsomeness. But those ones don't last. Never. Handsomeness doesn't last. It's not durable. Some will pitch their six-pass. It doesn't last. So if you're a true man, your pitch to a woman is your vision. The woman is actually coming to partner you in vision. And if you're a true woman, you don't pitch your beauty. Beauty doesn't last. If you're a true woman, you pitch your character.
That's it.
You pitch your character, not your beauty. If your strongest strength is your beauty, you need a new strength. Your unique selling proposition as a woman is not your beauty. The beauty is a plus. Any true man will tell you, well, after we engage you in that bedroom, 5-10 minutes, he's done. He's done. What stays beyond the 5-10 minutes of fun is the character. That is why if you're a woman and you've been using beauty to knock us down, the moment we get into the vine and we survey the vine and we survey that plantation where we come out, you see, we are gone.
You're gone. Because there's no tame,
you can't tame a man. You cannot tame any serious man with beauty. You can't. Beauty should be your plus. Beneath that beauty should be that virtuous character, that Proverbs 31 character. And it should be a character that, look, when anybody sees you, it draws them, the character, the character of your upbringing, the character of your speech, the character of your understanding, your patience, the character of your compassion, the character of your supportiveness to the husband, the character of how you are able to manage. Women are the only creatures in this world who can manage and manage and manage anything you give them. That is why when you give women this, they will multiply. When you give them small fish, you come home, they'll turn into something else. You don't understand. Women are so unique in this area. Just go read Proverbs 31. You see what they do. They're so unique. They are serious managers. That's why a lot of women managers do so well. They are just so good at bringing the best out of everything.
And it's so wonderful when you meet a man that allows you to live so in your full feminine state, where I allow you to manage the home. I allow you to manage and direct. I allow you to, because he sees that this is something that is innate in us. It's something like, I am a planner. I'm always planning. I'm always everything. Like if I send my husband to the supermarket, he goes, he comes back, he forgets something.
Disoriented, That's me.
We look so disoriented. He can't find the things on the shelf.
Man, I think this one you've even gone foul. Even at home. Look,
even at home,
for 1 hour and leaves the boys with me. Charlie, some of us, we use 30 minutes to look for salt. Charlie, we look so frustrated. We use 30 minutes looking for, hey, where did she put this? But the things are all there.
But you can't.
Wow, women are just so gifted. And anybody who understands the value of a woman, you know that they are not there to compete with you. They are there to complement you. The third thing a father ought to do is to be the person to set the family relationship goals for the family. Well, what does it mean? A father has to be able to grow his family, his unit, into a stronger unit that will build the right relationships. Everybody needs relational goals. We need relationship goals. The relationship goals here simply means, how do we relate with ourselves? How do I relate with my wife? What are the different ways we express our love and our relationship to each other every day? How do we express it? Even with the children, what is the relationship? These are things that we intentionally have to do. How do we communicate with them? How do we express the verbal things and non-verbal things? How? Then beyond the communication of the way we handle our relationship inside, we need to also build those external relationships. So a serious family that knows their stuff, you will notice that they spend time, they are very intentional in actually making new friends. They are actually making new business connections. They are actually making new contacts out there. You see them actually adding like serious people to their life. Now, families that have no relationship goals, they often do not connect out there. They don't know how to connect. The woman has no friends. The husband himself has no friends aside from work colleagues, right? Our life is the same. It looks so boring. They don't have nobody. Nobody will visit them in his birthday time. Why? Because these are not things that are intentional. If you have relationship goals, you wake up every day or within a year and you say, these are the new set of friends I need in our life, or these are the new set of people or couples we need in our life. Relationship goal could probably even direct you to having a mentor. Or many of us don't even think in marriages we need mentors.
We need mentors.
We need mentors too. People we look up to, people who have succeeded in this thing called marriage, people who we admire from afar, the Oyedepos and co. These are people we can mentor. But wait a minute, if you don't have your relationship goals right as a family, how do you make them? Some of us actually wish that we just sit down and then good people come into our life. It doesn't work that way. We have to be intentional about making new friends. We sit down at the end of the year and sit down and say, look, this new year, we want to prioritize this family and pray for them. This new year, we want to visit these people. You see, families that have relationship goals, they are intentional about who they visit. You see them one weekend, you say, oh, we are hosting this family here. Oh, this weekend, we are going to visit this family. This weekend, we are going for this marriage conversation or partnership meeting. They set them, they do it together. They go out, they make time to actually go and meet people. They know the kind of people they want to attract into their family business. But this business of family is not about you and your wife alone doing it. You can't do it. There are times when your energies will be so low and you need new anointing from outside. So this is an area that we need to actually work on as well to build the right relationship. When we have our relationship goes well, we often will find that we have the right people in our life in every space. If we have money issues or we need money advice, there is that person this family goes to.
Yeah.
If we have maybe mental issues or counseling needs, there is that person we know we could go to. If there is this need, there is this people we can, okay, if our kids need an extra friend out there to play with, we know we got 2, 3 families, the Psalms, the days that we can actually send our kids to and have a good time. These things actually help in having healthy family relationships. And I think the last one I want to mention about will be being intentional about raising the kids. This is actually why I think we fail a lot. Fathers do not realize that their role in raising the kids
That
intentionally
was actually going to be my next question to you.
So let's talk about it then. Many of us actually allow the kids to organically just grow. Many fathers do not know the difference between a father who is a sponsor and a father who is actually actively involved in the life of the parent and in the children. Now, how many of us can relate with the fact that we mostly never saw our dads within a week? They will leave very early in the morning, come very late. Sometimes on weekends, they are not even around. And they are so used to dropping money on the table. When you wake up, putting money on the table, your school fees is on the table, your chop money is on the table, the upkeep money is on the table. When we have fathers like this, they are mostly what we call sponsors. They are taking, they are playing their financial responsibility of putting money and making sure that there is enough food at home, which is necessary. But then they are not active in the children's life. Now, in the modern world, those of us who have done a little bit of research will know that it takes more than financially supporting a family or your children to actually raise a successful family. Kids today actually need more than just money. They need your physical time. Your biggest investment into a child ought to be your physical time that you invest into them. The time you spend with a child, the time you sit with them to read, the time you sit with them to teach them a craft, how to do this, the time you spend with that child in the kitchen and say, this is how to wipe it. The time you spend with the child to say, okay, this is how to turn a car, this is how to ride your bicycle. The time you spend with a child and say, let's go for a walk. The time you spend with a child and then play with them. These are the ones they never forget. No child ever forget.
And they value that more than the material things that you buy for them.
Yeah. Many of us today have never forgotten that our parents never attended our PTAs. PTA, Parent Teacher Association meetings. Many of us, our fathers never attended. Parents never, our mothers never attended. Why? They always had a perfect excuse. Work.
And living abroad.
Even abroad, same
We
thing.
have so many parents who are doing 3, 4 jobs because they want to build a house in Ghana.
Yeah.
So we put so much weight on building a house in Ghana. Some of us lose the way of raising successful children.
We lose.
For me, I believe, and maybe some people would say I'm wrong, I believe raising kids who are able to have college degrees, have successful careers are more important. That is, for me, more important than building a house in Ghana. Because those 2 kids, if they have good careers, they can buy you that house in less than 3 months. If they find a good place
in less than 3 months.
If you force yourself, if you focus on 3, 4 jobs, and if you go to North London right now, so many Ghanaian kids, all of them have records or are in prison or have made 1 or 2 years stint in prison. If you go to New York, it's the same. I always get conversations of Ghanaian kids whose parents are always working. When they come back from school, there's nobody at home. So if you live in New York, you live in Tracy Towers, what are you going to do after you come back from school? You're going to hang out down around the block with other kids. What is the point when you build 3, 4 houses in Ghana, you have a car in the garage waiting for you every time you go to visit for 2, 3 weeks, and your child's life is, coming back to that. But when this happened, I have a recent case that my mom told me, and they were all blaming the woman. When this happened in our Ghanaian context, we always blame the woman that she didn't raise the kids well. Now, I want you to now explain what you think the role of a father is in raising these kids. And for me, I think a father's role is very important in raising female children as it is important in raising male children. In our cultural context, we always think a man must raise a boy and a woman must raise a woman.
Yeah.
But recently, when Yvonne Nelson's book came out, I said, as somebody who has done pedagogy, I know that it makes, if they say she's promiscuous, everything they said clinically, it makes sense, because we can see that girls whose fathers are not in their life, they go looking for this male essence in different
people. Exactly.
They look for this male essence, this male validation in different men. And when you don't have the scientific background, you say the person is promiscuous. But if you have that, you know it's classic. That's why God made it that a woman's essence and a man's essence must be present for a child, because it's two different energies that a child needs to grow healthily, you know. So when we leave the child raising completely at the hands of women, how does that affect our children, and how can we better it?
So in Africa, we tend to leave the raising of the kids in the hands of the women, mostly the women, because culturally, based on how the evolution of the African economy, men were mostly the ones winning the bread out there, and then women were mostly home. In recent times, it's changed. A lot more women are out there working different jobs, different trades, corporate jobs here and there. So it's changed a bit. Some of them have house helps, or some of them have extended families helping there. In the West, it is more even deeper. In the West, where most of us don't have the luxury of our extended families and house helps here, because most of us can afford house help. We can't afford it, because you can't just have a house help here and say,
listen, Angela Merkel around or in the shopping.
Angela Merkel, former chancellor of Germany, even she said she wish she did do shopping. Right? You can't, back home, you can just say, you know what, I'm gonna have a house help, pay the house help 200-300 Ghana a month, and then your benefit is a free accommodation, free food, you stay with us. No, it doesn't work like that here. You still have to pay them the legal salary according to the law here. Minimum wage, you still have to pay them like they're salaried people. You just can't do that here. So many of us are not able to have house helps here, meaning that most of the thing is on us. Now, in a system like this in the West, where if you're not out there and you're not working, you are literally going to be broke and you die, right? Many men will still work, and completely forget about the children. So the people who actually step in the more now, beyond just the wife at home, are the teachers in school. Some people will go and drop their kids off as early as 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and will go pick them after 6 p.m. because the parents are just too busy. Now, the danger here is that in a very postmodern world where people have really targeted these children are the target of so many groups out there, right? It simply means every single day you are not keeping an eye on who is actually raising your child for you. Whilst you are chasing the money, or you are making the money, you wake up one day and you wonder, oh my goodness, is this still my son? Your son has changed and you didn't even realize. Your son has undergone so many changes, but you didn't even realize because we've just been too busy. We need to figure out how we can balance work and family life. For me, my personal goal, I have two things. I should probably say three things. The first two are just non-negotiable. Number one, my relationship with God. My relationship with God comes before my relationship with my wife. I will choose God over my wife any day. That is a fact. She knows it. I tell her all the time, God is my essence. That's where I derive my essence and my life from. Number two, my wife. I'll choose my wife over my children. Because before them children came into my life as gifts, my wife was already here. We make this mistake. Some of us, when we didn't have any child, our wives were the number one. The moment children started coming in, we push our wives to the back. And then our children now become what? There are so many families today. The tension is not even between the husband, the wife, and extended family. The tension is between competition with the children. I'm not saying don't give love to your children, but just know the love you have for your wife or your spouse can never be taken over by the love for your children. Your children have a special place in your life. Before they were born, your wife was already dead. They will grow 18, 19, have their own wives and husbands and leave. You two will still be here into your old age. So you better have these priorities right. I know somebody say, okay, what if I have an Ogbanje? That's your problem. If you have a witch, that's your problem. If you're married to a witch, that's your problem. If you are married to a marine spirit, that's your problem. If you are married to a Bukom Bita, that's your problem.
That's your problem. That out. You should choose carefully.
Choose carefully. Sort that out. Otherwise, the way it's supposed to work is that your spouse has to be numero uno. Numero uno. Your spouse has to be numero uno. Now, if you understand this, you actually will know how to actually distribute your energies well. I want to encourage each and every father out there to see yourself as one, the number one leader of the family. Number two, the teacher of the family, the high priest of the family. Me, I say this all the time. And nobody say they talk more. You see my two kids for here. They go Canadian. Okay, Joanna is already going to junior kindergarten in September. She's going to be taught. I'm going to lose her from the morning to about 2, 3 p.m. That's how many hours she's gone. Several hours of getting good influence and bad influence, isn't it? Mm-hmm. She's going to get good influence from school. She's going to get a lot of bad. In this world we live in, the bad is always more than the good. But when she comes home, who is going to do the quality check? You ask the parent. Mm-hmm. Who is going to give that extra teaching that the school is not able to? It has to be the parent. Many of us today assume that the teachers are going to raise our kids into superstars for us. It's never true, guys. Teachers are one of the most demoralized people in the whole universe today. That's a fact.
And even nowadays, based on all of these different orientations that people have, you know, I remember I went to teach in a school. When I started teaching, I had a substitute where I went to teach in a school. And when I went to the school, there was I don't know what I said, man. It's a woman's a man, that's what I say. Mm-hmm. And in a skirt, with lipstick, with high heels, with the beard on, and he was teaching chemistry or something. And it was kind of very strange for me to see something like that, you know, especially here in Europe and North America. These people have very different ideas from what you want your child to be. So leaving your child at school from sometimes even kindergarten, they leave the children from 6 till 6.
It's 2 6, 12 hours.
And then as soon as you pick this child, the child is tired. You come home, you feed the child, you bath the child is gone to sleep. You personally, you have not had any interaction. You have not had a chance to impact your child in any way.
Yeah.
This teacher is teaching your child how to use fork and knife to eat at 3 years, because you leave your child there at 3. When they feed them, they give them a fork or a knife. They teach them how to eat, how to clean up after you eat, how to wipe after you use the loo, how to, you know, because 3 years, that's when you're going from diaper to, you know, dryness. They are teaching your children so many things, conflict resolution, when you have a problem with another child, how to say sorry or not, all of these things. They teach their children so many good things in the kindergarten years, but somebody else who has a different orientation can also teach your kids so many bad things.
The wrong person can just destroy your child.
You know, so leaving our kids for so long, whilst we are so focused on this agenda of I have to build a house in Ghana, I have to build a house in Ghana, can sometimes, or sometimes even not a house in Ghana, I want a bigger house in Canada. Mm-hmm. Or I want a bigger car, or I want to, you know, I want to compete with the Joneses and so on. Mm-hmm. In the end, we end up having kids who are half-baked. And then when they are like 16, 17, we try to reel them back in, and then it's too late. And if it's too late here in Germany, I don't know about Canada, but here in Germany, if a child is 16, she can just go and say, I don't want to be with you people any longer.
That's true.
And they're going to be given a place to live. It's not in Ghana like, when you sack your child from the house, they will sleep on the street. Here, they will give them accommodation.
They will give them accommodation.
They will take care of them, because the child is a minor. They will take care of them. So at that point, it's a bit too late for you to reel that child. It's as most of us leave it too late. Yeah. So I'd like for us to now move and talk about dreams in a child, aspirations in a child, what a father can do to bring these dreams and aspirations to life in a child, especially here abroad, you know.
I think one of the dangers in parenting is to impose your missed dreams on a child. What does it mean? Things that I couldn't do, I want my child to do them, right? Sometimes it can be good, right? Cristiano Ronaldo want to raise a Cristiano Ronaldo. Lionel Messi want to raise the next Lionel Messi, right? The next Mark Zuckerberg, most likely coming from the Zuckerberg family. It's a trend. That is why you see a lot of doctors raising kids who are doctors.
Who are doctors?
A lot of lawyers raising kids who are... Exactly. But whilst this can be a good sign of progression or maintaining a family tradition in terms of like that kind of giftings that runs through a family, because some gifts sometimes runs through a family. DNA, right?
Yeah.
So case if you're an athlete, you born to an athlete parent, you could naturally just be good. But sometimes the lines between forcing our kids into dreams that are not theirs is so blurry, like it's so thin with the line. If you're not careful, you right. For example, I wanted to be a pilot at some point when I was growing up. I wanted to, at a point, be a medical doctor because that was what everybody. Now I couldn't, right? I probably feel ashamed today that, oh my goodness, I couldn't do that. And I see people making all the money now. I may be tempted to run my daughter or my son into that field. But the question is that really what they want to do? So I want to encourage parents to be mindful, to gently observe kids. We must be gentle in our observation of our kids and their giftings, their talents, their passions, their interests, their skill sets, and coach them and expose them to as many things as possible. It is actually the child's duty to actually determine where they want to head. Your job is just to be a mentor, to coach them. And a mentor coaches you. They direct you. They give you all the support you need. My job is not to tell Joanna what she has to become. No, never. But my job is to make sure that I expose her to as many things as possible. Right? Yeah. That she's out there doing athletics with her friends, doing gymnastics. She's swimming. She's out there playing and skating with her friends here in Canada. That she's out there doing stuff and painting. That she's out there learning some stuff in the kitchen with my wife or myself. We're teaching her stuff. That she's able to use a computer. That she's able to do so many things. And then what happens is that as this child begins to grow up, they would have been exposed to so many things that the dominant interests or giftings begin to now show. And that is where you actually start getting feedback from maybe your teachers at school that would think your child is gifted in this area or has a dominant strength here. That you yourself might be noticing and say, okay, I think we can give him a little bit more help here. Now, I think when we do this, we find that we're actually giving the kids an opportunity to express their talents better. It doesn't work that way. When I was growing up, I wanted to play soccer. I wanted to play football, right? Charlie, I will go play football. One of two options. You can go and play and sleep outside without food. Or you don't go and play and you eat and then you stay. Charlie, and
but why? Why was it? Because for me, when I was young, I loved to dance, to be in plays in Sunday school, to do choreography, to do this. And everybody was like, no, you have to go to school. And if you go to school, you have to do science. And if you do science, like your whole life, people were pushing me in things that I had absolutely no interest in.
No interest. That's why we need to monitor the interest level. You see, my daughter will be here, Joanna. There are some things that sometimes I will be doing with her teacher and something. You say, Daddy, I don't want it. And I say, okay. There are times when you yourself, you have to know as a parent, you're pushing too much, right? There are times when they are just being kids and they know when we give them a little push, they will actually do it. But there are times when we have to just be smart enough to know we are over pushing. When is it a bad parenting? When you actually force that child to do things they don't want to. Some of our kids don't want to be doctors. That's a fact.
But you know, that is
we are forcing them to be doctors. Some of them don't want to become accountants. We're forcing them to be. Just because we are competing with every other friend out there. You've seen your friend's son enter law school. You want your child to also enter law school because it's competition for you. It is about how you can rock shoulder and say, me to have children. No, it's not about that. It's about that child. That child is unique. Pay attention. He's unique. He or she is unique. There is a Pentecost family in the US. I believe their son, they have a very young boy, probably 6, 7, 8 years old, and the boy is autistic, right? Imagine in Africa, how we probably would say that this child has no gifting and then we rubbish the child. But because this child has supportive parents, they've been able to actually give this child, they still do, give this child all the support, right? Helping this child to bring out. And you know, autistic kids are some of the most talented in this whole world.
Yeah.
This kid has actually appeared on national television in the US, global channel, playing piano like a serious, genius at this age. But what if we don't know this? You see your child and you'll be the one to actually pronounce curse. Some of the curses in our lives today were placed on our own parents. They didn't even realize that you are not good enough. You are not good enough. What bon? And what bon? Come on, not in my house. Not in my house. In my house, we don't use this language. We never use the language of you are not good enough. But this is unique. This is a language. It kills confidence. It kills initiative. It kills belief. If you have parents who ever use, look, the kind of things you didn't like when your parents did to you, you don't go around doing it too. Me, I didn't like with my father. Look, there were days when my father would look at you and say, you are this. You know you are not. And the way they say it, you're like, wow, this is supposed to be my father. This is supposed to be my mother. They just said this to me. Some of the words we say to our kids are like scars. It stays with them forever. You don't want to be the one unleashing those curses. Words are creative. Words create life. This whole universe was created with words. Let there be, and it was. So let your speech be a speech that empowers and builds, not to destroy your children. Let's be mindful of the way we speak. I want to also go on and say that as fathers, we have to also be intentional in developing all the aspects that the child needs, like the total development of the child, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, every aspect, skills we need to. In fact, I did a video, the most trending video on my channel on YouTube. It's actually a video that I was advised. The title is Irrelevant Degree. So if you type Choko Melonia and you put a space and you type Irrelevant Degree, you're going to see this video on YouTube. It's the most trending. I found that a lot of African Americans are watching that video because the things I said in that video, people actually resonate with it. Guess what? We abandon the parenting and the education of our children. We outsource that to teachers at school. But we know we live in times where teachers are one of the lowest paid people in the world.
And overworked.
Overworked people. These are people who are disincentivized. Just say, the motivation level, the morale level is low. You find one or two, you can find one or two teachers who are outstanding and they'll pour themselves into your child. But I want you to know that most of the teachers today, they are not in the right mental space already in terms of motivational. So you're going to put all your hopes on that teacher in school who has how many children to deal with. You think that they, the teacher, right, should abandon their own children at home and come and give their first fruit to you. Okay, first fruit means their first energy. It doesn't work that way, especially in countries where teachers are not paid well. They have to go on protest to get allowances here and there. My people, don't put too much hope there. I'm not saying don't educate your children in school, but I'm saying that you should be smart enough to know you cannot rely on that alone.
At all.
When your children come home, you should be the one to actually want to work more on them. Work on them financially. How? There is this thing I do with my daughter. She's only 3. But she knows she can earn her own allowances here and there. There are things that when she does, we actually pay her money for doing them.
Very good.
Yeah, we pay Joanna money for doing things. We pay Joanna money for reading. If you grab a book and you read, you get paid. If you do good stuff at home, you get paid. Of course, you don't get paid for washing dishes because when you eat that plate, it's your duty. You take care of that. But things that we know actually are development oriented for her own self, we encourage her to do that. At this age, she already has a money bank, a piggy bank with an ATM card. If some of you have watched my videos, you know she has a whole bank with ATM at this age. So this girl will grow. You can't tell us they will give her $2-3. They will go touch in the books. You know, get sense. If you can't tell my daughters they give them $2-3 to go touch in boobs, or they go give them what? iPhone. You know the way they work on them. Before you go start the talk money, you know how much you get for your bank account self. Because you, the father, when you take that responsibility of making sure that you raise your children financially smart, nobody can corner your girl with money. Some of our daughters today who are in terrible marriage, the money where they take lovely on them.
Fried rice and credit.
Fried rice and chicken. Indomie marriages. If Indomie where they take at them, where you come out in Kyoto, we do the thing. You see, but what if we have parents who are aware of their own financial lives, the situation, and are able to pass this on by teaching their kids about money, making sure that they are intelligent? You see, look at the taboo topics in our homes today. When we were growing up, how many of us? I want you to comment in the comment section right now. Let's be real. I'm just real. I know you like fake. I know be one of those motivational people where they will go take some special energy drink and can't fire you fake things. There you go out you go. Let's do some real analysis.
We are here for real talk.
Look, comment in the comment section below. How many of you had your parents sit you down at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15, right? When you started seeing some things shooting on your body, your chest coming out and stuff, your beard, how many of our parents sat us down to give us reproductive lessons?
None.
That my daughter, you are around 12. None.
Yeah,
you know so? Yours didn't. Not me. Not my father. Not my mother. No. So look at it. Reproductive lesson, no. How to know our body as young boys growing up, the changes, no. They expected the teachers to do that. It don't be so. The teachers do for school. They go drown for bottle. They will teach us all the things.
Some way. They don't teach it straight.
They don't even teach it proper because it's a taboo topic. No go. Secret. Touch not. You see, taboo topic number 2, apart from this, sex. Did they tell us about sex? No. They didn't tell us about sex. Nobody did teach us. When we grow up, they want us to have the best of sex in our marriages. Where would they go line up for?
They didn't teach us.
So you know, teach us, teacher to know teach us for school. Where you think they will go line up for? You see how most of us will end up for porn sites.
Yeah.
But when they look for vim, so when they look for inspiration, because nobody they teach us. So. Third one, money. When we were growing up, did any of you have your parents sit you down to teach you about money?
Never.
No. But I don't want you to take it too much to your heart. No. The reason why they didn't teach us because they themselves didn't know. You cannot give that which you do not have. I never had my father sit me down to teach me about how money works. I never had my father sit me down to teach me, or my mother sit me down to teach me about this and this, what to look out for in a girl, how to prepare yourself as a young boy going into puberty, blah, blah. So they didn't teach us this. How to even care for yourself, personal hygiene. Many of us, with the body odor we get stuff, when our parents cannot even tell us about body odor. It will take your girlfriend and your boyfriend to be the one telling you that you have body odor. But yet we come from homes where we sleep with parents. How? Because these are taboo topics. But miraculously, when we grow, they expect us to become experts in money. They see us as IMF and World Banks. How? How? How does it just doesn't make any sense? That be why I tell you, say, the best way you go start the approach your life differently is to ask yourself, what is it that you miss when you're growing up? You don't need nobody to, you don't even need to come millionaire to be telling you this. So you sit your whole life and then watch them. Now, when I was growing up, what did I miss?
What did I miss?
But look at this studio. My daughter at the age of 3, she paid money. So I have videos. You guys make sure you are following me because I'll be dropping all these videos at some point. At this age, she's paid money to read. She's paid money to learn certain things at home. At a point, she'll be learning how to do hair and braiding her hair. I go pay her money. Yes. And if you pay her up to $5 for just reading a book, and when you read, you come in. So this girl, tomorrow you see her say they read book to the point say if he write book, where did they publish him? You see him, you say, oh my gosh, he's a genius. You don't know he started with parenting. When you look at the authors out there who are the Team Amanda, at the chief, where they see him, where they write book like that, do you know what the father had to do? They have to set her up.
Of course.
There are things they intentionally did.
You have to
just ask yourself today. Growing up as kids, we had Junior Graphic in Ghana, isn't it? Junior Graphic. Junior Graphic, which is like a newspaper for kids, teens, right? School kids, right? Imagine if your parents paid you money for reading a Junior Graphic every week.
That the first time I left Ghana for North America, it was because of writing, because my father went to GIJ and he encourages me to write to different articles. And that was what sent me abroad.
You see? That was what sent you what?
Abroad.
But these are things where the successful people they do, where we know they do them. And the reason why we know they do them is say the teaching didn't start from the top. Your father and mother, they didn't know it, they don't teach you. So they don't teach you. How do you also pass it on to? You have to be intentional to break that cycle. May I make intentional? If you never had a father who told you, read that book, I'll pay you to read. Yes, it's called incentive. You know how they were paying us? Boom, they read. Boom, they go belt you. You belt your child how far? How far? But the smart people are using all kinds of creative ways to encourage their kids. Think about this, guys. This money where they take it, Joanna. Mommy, if you give me a chance, I go the top, go carry in Susu boss money bag. They design them just like ATM with ATM card.
Nice.
Normal.
Oh, nice.
Look, she has money in it, right? So guess what? She has a couple of dollars in it already. If she needs gummy or she needs Play-Doh, who do you think is going to take the money out? Won't I tell her to use the money that she has in the bank to go and buy it? But indirectly, you, the father, would have been the one to actually buy that. No, so, or your mother, right? But you are just finding a creative way to pass that same thing around and still getting the best out of your child. Why don't we do this? It's because we are not being taught this. And a generation that doesn't know cannot do it. We need to be intentional. Look, if we don't teach our kids about reproductive things, a boy out there is going to be the one to teach your daughter that thing in the corner. If you are not even lucky, they will not even do it when there is light. Though. They will do it when there is no light off.
Or a friend, because for me, for instance, growing up, when my body started changing, all my parents told me was to use a lime under my armpit. But when it came to Facebook, please don't ban me. When it came to, like, you know, taking care of down there, my parents never thought. It was other girls who told me, you have to use potassium permanganate to wash. You have to, and I don't even know if medically is allowed or not. Other girls, they have also heard something from older sisters, and then they will pass it down to you, and you also try to do what they are also doing, you know. But one-on-one with my mom, I never got that kind of, you know, because it's a taboo thing. And my mom,
it's a taboo topic.
And my mom was district women's leader. So you for the whole Atabia district, Apostolic Church, Anti-Grace. So for her, for the thing to even come out of her mouth is difficult. But now
it's difficult.
I'm older, I can have these conversations with her. And when I talked to her, she was like, listen, my mom died when I was 13. Nobody taught me. I did not. She tried. She's very involved with her grandchildren and everything, and tried to force us to do better, because luckily for her, she left Dansoman, Latabia Okoshi area, and went to America. So while she's there, she's also learned some new things and understand that her parenting was not 100%. Yes, she's somebody you can have conversations with, and she knows she made some mistakes along the way. But like you said, you cannot give what you don't have, because she herself, her mom died when she was 13. So she had to learn things from the streets, and she didn't even know whether she can pass that on. So we had girls telling each other, go and buy Summer's Eve and use, mix potassium permanganate in water and use. Ladies, tell me, if none of, don't tell me I'm the only person who has potassium somebody has written the correct name here. Potassium tell me if your friends did not tell you that. I'm not the only person who has Shege friends. I'm sure you also had friends who were Shewa guy a bit. So we learn these things on the streets from our friends, you know.
Yeah,
and it can be also very, very dangerous, because our parents, you know, had so many, you know, taboos and things like that. And that brings us back to even when I was like 19 and I liked a boy, I didn't have anybody that I can talk to that I liked somebody. Let's talk about emotional intelligence. When your child is feeling down, going through something tough in school, like, how do you create this space for your child to be able to come to you and tell you, this is mentally draining for me, I need some space, or this is mentally exciting for me, you know, because it's now that I am a teacher myself, I find out that these things are natural. That comes, it's actually natural for a child who is 15, 16 to see somebody normally of the opposite sex and be like, I find her beautiful and I'm interested in getting to know her. But we are shamed for that growing up, you know, like you're a bad person if you start to. But when you learn biology, you understand that as a man's body starts to change, you start to look at the opposite sex and kind of have interest. Of course, you still like to play football with your boys, but when one girl is passing, it's natural that your eye will go there and follow her. How do you create this space for Joanna and her brother?
It starts with the father being aware. If you are not aware that you need help yourself as a father, you often don't become conscious, or you are not conscious of your own emotional, intelligence. I think emotional intelligence is probably the most ignored type of intelligence, or a sphere of intelligence in our educational system. Our educational system is focused on developing the intellect of kids, so arithmetic, writing, blah, 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 blah. Now, the emotional intelligence part of it, teachers assume that the parents will do that at home. Parents also say, we are paying you this much money. You better.
So you do it, the job for us.
So at the end of the day, nobody actually deals with that. Now, if we're going to be honest, most of us went through our entire education from kindergarten all the way to university without anybody teaching us about emotional intelligence. Some of us, the first time we came across this was when our corporations or where we work, if you find yourself in a really good corporate setup, organize maybe a workshop on emotional intelligence and force you to do it just to be compliant, just because they figured out there is more tension among you as employees working together. So now they have to get
everybody. They do team building exercise.
Team building. Then they have to now run you through emotional intelligence course. These are things that we should have been taught already. But who though? The father, the mother, the parents. We have to. Emotional intelligence is basically you being so intelligent to the point that you are so aware of your own emotions, your energy, emotion, your chemical energies that are emotion, running, your emotions, chemical energies inside of you. That thing that activates and feels like something is, right? You being aware of your own. Listen to Amo. You have to be aware of yourself. You did that you for be aware of your own emotional intelligence. Then know where the gauge on the scale, the way it did. Now, when you are aware of it, it helps you to know the strengths you have emotionally and the weaknesses you have emotionally. When you become so aware of it, you actually accept or approve of your strength and say, I think I agree that these are my strengths. And then you also agree that these are your weaknesses. And when you agree and you admit that these are your weaknesses, you don't stop there. You make the effort to actually work on your emotional weaknesses. Now, it doesn't stop there. Now that you've taken the course on yourself, meaning it starts with you, you are now in a better position to now transfer that knowledge towards other people, like your wife, like your children, like your colleagues at work, like your friends in society, in church, at the mosque, wherever. By saying that because I know myself so well and my weaknesses, when I meet other people, I'm also able to tell their strengths and their weakness. Meaning you are being more smart now to understand people from afar without even asking them questions. What that does is that it helps you to now know how to relate to them. In fact, anybody who is emotionally intelligent will automatically know their personality type.
You know whether you're personality or not. You know, yeah.
Let me ask our audience.
Sanguine, whatever.
Our audience, I be Canada with me, I can't say. Anyway, when I was about leaving Ghana, I was introduced to a book by Tim LaHaye, Spirit Control Temperament. I read that book. I didn't read it into detail, but it was kind of where I started. And then when I came to Canada, going through different transitions of my life, that was when I decided to take a bit more dive into this. Then my workplace, we have several sessions of emotional intelligence because Charlie, people are not getting along at work. Sometimes they see people when they work, they wear suits like that with full pass. They fight with the fight for work. Charlie, backbiting, gossiping, this. Today, this one, they talk to this one. This one, they say. Sometimes the companies, they look, oh my goodness, they have impressive CVs. Their CVs are so good. Their CVs say they are one of the best. But look at the people they are. So now smart companies are no longer focusing on just your professional strengths. So some of them are actually looking at your character.
Of course.
They don't want to hire somebody who is so good as a Balotelli on the field, but cannot handle the character out off the pitch or on the pitch. They don't want to handle somebody who can lose. Look at this. Emotional intelligence teaches you to think, consider all options before taking an action. Within a split second. So, Charlie, within a split second. You see, emotional intelligence, it being way, it will make your mind, within a split second, your processor, it will tell you, say, Charlie, Jaga P. Yeah. That taxi driver way, it mess you up. Charlie, don't pull the thing. Yeah. No. Within a split seconds. Emotional intelligence way will tell Stoneboy, say, Stoneboy, Charlie, shut up. They include the camp stage. Charlie, don't pull that thing.
Don't pull that.
Sit down. Hi. Charlie, you know all the big brands where they follow you. Hi. They will drop you. Within a split seconds, emotional intelligence.
If you don't have
intelligence, it being way will tell that and national security man say, Charlie, even though you get body where you be macho man like that, Charlie, we some George, you get mouth where they talk nonsense sometimes, or they talk true sometimes where they make the best like that. I was always go. You meet them where they do, Charlie, think twice. Emotional intelligence tells you that before you hit your wife, think twice. How many of us can take 1 to 2 seconds to process all the consequences of our actions before doing them?
Because we were not trained for that.
We're not trained for it.
We are just trained to be reactive.
We're not trained. So the average adult who is so intelligent academically, call them PhDs, are the least intelligent people emotionally. You see them sometimes behaving and wonder, oh my goodness, how did he do that? You've always known him as a perfect CEO, isn't it? Because emotions are not trained. They don't train us. Our parents don't train us in these areas. Apart from shouting, belting us, they don't. But you as a parent, for you to be able to teach your children to be emotionally smart, it starts with you. It starts with me. Me, where I get my weaknesses. So, hey, plenty. If I go back 5 years ago, the way I was, I've become way better. Not perfect, we are getting there. Nobody can be perfect, by the way. But I used to be so angry. Probably that'd be one of the things I picked from my father. My temper, quick. If I verse, hey, you know, good though. If I verse, my goodness. Those of you who saw me at the beginning of my content creation, you know, when I'm really angry and I'm dealing with people, I'll be the type of if I deal with you. I go deal with you, where you know you go regret, say you can't touch me, said that'd be hard. Anger is the most common emotional weakness of all humans.
And the cheapest. For me,
exactly.
It's the cheapest.
Anger. If you Ghanaian, anger. If you Nigerian, anger. Whichever if you be Steve Harvey, anger. Whichever one, anger. You know, be hangout, anger. That one.
Maybe it's pushed by the hunger too.
It's pushed by the hunger. Maybe we hang on today. That one will be the most common of everybody. Jealousy. And these things are all they are moral things we don't see. We don't see them, not material. They will run inside us within split seconds. Jealousy, selfishness, these things all they are manifestations of our emotions, how we feel. For you to really test your emotions, your emotion is your initial feeling about things. Initial. When you met that woman, what was your initial feeling? When you saw that friend of yours who just launched a brand new car, how did you feel? When they announced Burna Boy as the what's the name? What's the name of that award? Grammy Awards winner. How did you feel? When they announced Stonebwoy as the, how did you feel? Were you jealous? When you watch Chocomillion, how do you feel initially? The first feeling, the first one. Is it jealousy? Is it jealousy?
Or
it is appreciation? Or it is appreciation? Which one is it? The way you can tell is that first feeling. Many of us, our first feelings are horrible. If we follow through them, it's not. You heard about a Ghanaian pastor in the US who popo their wife.
His wife, yeah.
See? All it takes is sometimes 10, 15, 20 minutes to go and process all the possible consequences of that action you are about to take. And you see wisdom at the door of your life telling you, don't do it. Don't do it. You have the right to do it. All things are permissible, but there are consequences. Corinthians. He said, you have the right to do everything, but there are consequences. Don't do it. But because our first impulse, our emotions are untrained, look at all of us. We behave like adults with PhDs and credentials in suit. But there's animals. Animals are about to be unleashed. And sometimes we unleash them on our kids, we unleash them on our wives, we unleash them on our husbands. And look at how society is all messed up. I have decided and I've sworn to myself that I will not be the kind of man who hide his emotions. Men are raised to hide their emotions. Men don't cry. Men don't experience weaknesses. It's force. Don't believe that. Whichever culture you learn that from is force. Men do need help too. Men do cry. Men do have stress. Men do have their own problems too. Men do also go through depression. But if you are not willing to own up and say, this is my weakness, these are the things I'm struggling with, how then do you get help? How then do you get help? Cain, if Cain had 2 minutes or 1 minute to just think carefully, Cain wouldn't have done what he did to Abel. But within a split seconds, he lost his cool. And you see that anger is not an evil thing to be part of us. It be God way he put inside us. Because you see, the Bible says he created us for his own image. You know, be so? Where God he did that service, they get angry. You know, no, go read the Bible well. You know that how many times when he did the right as a God, he verse you and me. Me and you say God verse us. Because we know they do. God gets angry. The only difference between you and us is that God's nature is holy, so his anger can never lead him to sin. In fact, he's holy. But you and me, when anger, it lead to sin most of the time. But the Bible has even given the prescription. So you have the right to be angry, but use your common sense well. And if you are angry, make sure you resolve it before the sun what? The book of Proverbs, several scriptures on anger. But look at it. Many marriages today are breaking down because of this. The children who are there, anger. Your child is throwing tantrums. You, the father, you too, you're angry. Sometimes, see, yesterday when I was doing a video with my son, see how he was throwing his tantrums. Right? He's 2 years old. He doesn't even know what he's doing. But imagine me as a father taking that literally and saying that, oh my God, it's too much. And I quickly react. Do you know what that will be? But me as a father, I need to be mature enough to know that he's young. He doesn't know what he's doing. Whatever he's doing is not. I need the wisdom to know how to handle that. But there are many of us, we don't know how to, because we don't know how.
It is very normal for a 2-year-old to throw a tantrum. That is what 2-year-olds do. Because they don't have this regulation. They don't know how to regulate their emotions yet.
You see, here is it, guys. Tips. Some tips here on how to do this. One of the ways you can raise your kids to be emotionally intelligent is to carefully refine their character by putting them through tasks, different tasks, set different expectations for them, set standards for them, and take them through. For example, when we buy toys for our kids or we buy things for our kids, let us not create impression that it is for them. No. When I buy stuff for Joanna, or when we get stuff for Joanna, we create that impression for her to know that she's only a caretaker. She's a steward. You are just a steward. You are a trustee. It's not yours. We have the right to take it back. And so long as you have it, you must use it to glorify us. Yes, yeah. So when your child has this expectation, that toy, they won't own it. Look at our kids today. It's mine. It's mine. Because nobody is teaching them that, no, it's not yours. You are just a trustee. You are just a steward. We can take it back from you anytime. You are just a caretaker. When you create this mindset and expectation for your child, it's easier for them to share. True or false? Now you begin to teach them to share. So it's easy for them to share. You don't control that.
And they even take good care of it.
They take good care of it.
Yeah, they don't break it and ask for a new one.
You teach them. In fact, at some point, you must even teach them to even contribute towards the acquisition of that thing that they are stewarding. That is why at a point, you're teaching that child to learn to use their money to go and buy that stuff. Me, I go buy that plate, don't give Joanna for $1. But it be money from reading, we go take that. If buy something, I go tell her and say, she's still the steward of that thing. Because you messed up, we go take them from you. Some of us, because we have not been taught this, that be why the gift we God give us, we they use them against God. You know, be so. See the way we they use on our gift. They use on our gift against God. Because when I go do not watch on your market, and meanwhile, they take the thing give me to make we take glorifier. It is here. Yeah. Number 2, put your kids through different stages of refinement. Don't wait for your child to grow and be taught how to handle this, Teach them at home. When they get angry, have creative ways of dealing with them. You yourself as a father, you have to know when to raise your voice and when not to raise your voice. There are times when you raise your voice, you look like a monster. Nobody want to be with you. When your eyeballs begin to change from what? White to what? To red, nobody want to be around you. Your child feels threatened, right? And then they'll go hide somewhere. They want to be away. But look at it.
That is something that so many fathers are not aware of. You are, for your child, you are the strongest man alive. You are the fastest man alive. You are the richest man alive. To your child, you are everything. A child does not have the concept yet that Papa is about this height or this strength or nothing. So when you raise your voice, your height increases in the sight of you. You become this big thing, and it's very scary for children. But so many of us, we don't know. You understand?
Yeah.
We don't understand that. Sorry for cutting you. I just wanted to.
My kids here, my 2 kids. My wife says this to me, say, what is it about you that anytime you issue instructions, the kids just follow? I said, it's wisdom. Not only that, it's something that God has just given us as men. Sometimes our wives play this role when the men we run away from the house and then they are in charge. The wives do this, absentee-fathered, right? There are days when you put Joanna, you tell her to go sleep. She doesn't want to sleep. She'll put her antics up there. Joe Henry in the script doesn't want you. The mother will go, he'll still be crying. But when I enter the room and I calmly talk to him, calmly, and then the eyeballs just roll up like this, he knows what it means. You hear him quickly say, yes, daddy, and you sleep. That thing is like the lion. When the lion gets closer to the baby, They just know. They just have a way. And it's an aura of leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership is authority. Leadership, yeah. When you exercise it where you have authority. You have authority. And if you're a man without that authority, your house is in trouble.
That is it.
Remember, it's not about raising your voice all the time. But there are days you have to raise your voice. But there are also days that your calmness, your presence alone must restore calmness. You see, in the Bible, anytime God showed up before or in the presence of his prophets or his children, you notice that they get petrified right away. And then God has to assure them, calm down, stay calm, don't be afraid. As much as that father, look at the Bible, it says the fear of the Lord, fear. Hey, this God with himself, with the fear, at the same time, he's that loving father. You the father, you for embody the two.
Right.
You have to embody the two. You have to embody the two. Look, let's emotionally train the kids in different ways. Test them. How did they handle issues of sharing? How did they handle issues of, learning to deal with their what will I say? What is the word for it? The word is not coming, delaying their gratification. Right? There are times when they need something right now. How do we raise them to know that even though you could get this is not the right time? How do we do this? There are times when they need the iPad right now. How do we raise them in such a way that they know that they can have it, but not now? They can have that dress, but not now. How do we do this without breaking them? We need wisdom. And wisdom teaches you how to do this. Wisdom teaches you how to actually speak with them. Wisdom teaches you that when you raise your kids and you refine them through the different levels of emotional, say Jesus Christ, he did this thing with all the disciples. He take them through all this emotional intelligence. So, by the time they raise them, you see all of them with the game weakness. You watch out, I say, Peter, you way you did there, I said, I won't be my brother. You say, your temper no good one bit. When I'm not trying to the least chance you get, your anger will come out. You call somebody in here right now, Peter. You see, he took all of them through it. And by the time they actually went through all the development with the Holy Spirit, can you see how they all came out now?
Yeah.
We're all looking fine. But we have to be intentional in taking our kids through all those stages. When you take your kids through this journey of emotional intelligence, they know how to manage their anger. They can get angry, but they know how to express it. They can get angry, they just cannot hurt anyone with it. You teach them that it's okay to be angry. But when you are done, we have to talk about this. There are times when my daughter is angry, and I say, okay, I understand you're angry. Can we talk about this? We sit and we talk. Imagine you and your father having this conversation. Why won't she grow up and say, my best friend is my dad? Some of us can never say our best friend is our dad or our mother. Because they were never having this kind of conversations with us. Our best friends are the boys who are smoking weed out there. Because we cannot call our friends. Look, if we have parents watching today, and your biggest goal is not to have your daughter or your son as your best friend, you've lost the battle.
That is it. Especially
the best friend of your child.
Especially abroad.
I'm telling you, abroad, especially here.
Especially here.
Dangerous.
If the streets get a hold of your child,
dangerous.
All the jackpying that you did,
it's in vain.
It's in vain.
It's in vain.
You have lost everything.
This Western country, if your best friend is not your child, or your child is not able to say anywhere, even in school, maybe my go where I said to say my children one way they come from me like this. No, me I go be their best friend. Wait, no be say when they go do Takashi. Takashi for Ghana means by force. You have to be my best friend. No, you have to earn it. As a father, mother, you have to earn it. How do you earn it? By one, making yourself accessible, making yourself available, making yourself reachable, making yourself a partner and a builder, making yourself the person to inspire them, their motivator, making yourself the counselor, making yourself the person they can fall on to. Can your child come and tell you the problems they're having today? Many of us, our children are going through different ways. They can't even discuss them with us. Because the first thing we'll do is to shut them down. We call them evil spirits. We'll call the churches on them for them to deliver them when it has nothing to do with deliverance. Why? Because we lack this. So when you do this, you are shutting the door from your children. They will go out there, and that boy who has not been brought up well from his house by his parents is the one to act.
Who's going to show him?
Look at the way our kids are getting destroyed today out there. Because we are so absent in their life. It's so absent. I had a privilege of actually meeting a teenage girl. This teenage girl has so much confidence in me that she actually told me all her problems and said, look, don't go tell my parents about it. Why? Your child is not confident to have conversation with you. I want to be the one to have
conversation with child. You are an unsafe adult in this case. Imagine if you are an unsafe person and this child.
Imagine if I'm the wrong person this child is talking to. And you see them luring them. This is how most of our children do. Look, parents, watch it. The likelihood, the chance that you lose your child when they enter puberty is about 90-something% high. You have to work extra hard to win your child back. Most of our children, they transform into different creatures when they become teenagers. Why? Because at that stage, they need companionship. At that stage, they need friendship. At that stage, they need somebody who can help them understand their new self. At that stage, they need somebody they can talk to. At that stage, they need somebody they can look to for hope. Somebody they can look forward to as, they can look up to as a mentor. We are not there, parents. We are so busy making the money. Money for who? I alabo. I funeral cloth. We are going to buy funeral cloth. The funeral cloth that they buy, you know they wear. Meanwhile, the children, we've abandoned them emotionally. Be the one. Your child should be comfortable to even come and tell you that, Daddy, you know, this boy at school said he wants to be my boyfriend. And if your kid is not comfortable to, then listen to your child. Don't be quick in judging them. Look at it. God never judged us. Look, I say, if you're a Christian watching me, we for learn sense. Jesus Christ, we can't hear. No, did he come to condemn anybody? You know, this is the way the Bible talk. When people came around Jesus, they expected Jesus Christ to be condemning people who were not holy. The prostitute, why are you hanging out with a prostitute? Zacchaeus, we did away, they steal one money, or why they go to Zacchaeus' house? He said, look, you guys are not getting it too. You see, I didn't come to this world because I came to hang around with the good ones. So I came here because of the ones who are perishing. I came to rescue them. I came there to give them hope. So me going to Zacchaeus' house, it's not because I go make it corrupt me. I go influence some to transform them. You see, so when your child comes to you and tells you, oh, I'm having boyfriend issues, I'm having boyfriend, you see, it is not for you to condemn that child. Neither is it for you to condone. Notice the difference. I'm not telling you to condone, but I'm saying that you should be the person to give them and create that safe space that your children can come to and talk to. And then when they come and talk to you, now with wisdom, you are able to offer. Maybe you could even start a conversation. My daughter, you know, when I was your age, I went through the same thing. When you do that, we call it you identifying with the problem. They look at you and say, oh, really? So my mom also went through that? Oh, really, Mom? I want to hear more. How was it? Then you can even go back in time and tell them how. You know, there were some boys who came and, you know, they did this. I made some really bad decisions. But finally, I met your dad. When you do this and you let them know that what they are going through is not strange. The Bible says there is nothing new under the sun. You're telling them what they are about to do is not new. You've done it already. You did it even with swag. And then you use that opportunity now to introduce the lessons of wisdom called lessons of life.
That's
those things you went through as a teenager, flirting with the boy, as a parent yourself. You now package all of them as lessons for this your child. You know, at some point, you know what? You are going to enter into a relationship like this. But when I went through mine, these are the mistakes I made. Imagine if I had done this. Do you think I would have ended up like this? Imagine if I had ended. And you see, even those boys that you rode with and things didn't go well, you could, if you have pictures, you could show them. Look, can you imagine your mommy? Yeah, don't worry. Your dad already knows. So in case you're planning on going to tell that, dad already knows. When you do that, you are opening them up. You know, mommy, my friend, today, he introduced me to this thing, and I did a little bit of that at school. Oh, my child, come to me. Prodigals, I know, so you do. He said, my child, you've messed up so much. You know, so, but come home. Let me give you a hug first. Let me give you a party first. Let me clean you up first. You know, when we finish, we can have conversation about those things. He's done it. She's done it. And so what? Embrace that child first. Let them feel safe around you. And then when you finish, you can begin having those conversations. How did you feel? When you did the first one, how did you feel? Huh? Okay. Did they overwhelm you? Did they do this? Describe it. You see, by doing this, you identify with them. Because these are conversations they will have with their peers.
With their peers.
When they meet, they are going to have this conversation, but they can't have it with us.
You know, we are so I can say I am so judgmental. I'm so African sometimes. Well, I am an African, so anyway. I remember when my stepson was 19 or 20, and he's pure white, but he likes granule soup and fufu. And his dad was like, "Oh, can you make granule soup and fufu? Sebastian and his girlfriend is coming to visit." I was like, "No, no." I have never had something like this in my life, because when I was young, if you're 19, you cannot tell your parents you are bringing your girlfriend to dinner and maybe
no, not possible. We do it behind the scene.
But the girl came, we all sat, we ate, and it was, no matter, culture is culture. No matter how educated, you still have experiences that are like, okay, that's new. I also remember an encounter where a German mom who had a child who was like 14, 15 said, "Oh, my daughter is active." And I said, "Active in what?" And she said, "Oh, she's active. She's sexually active." So we've made an appointment with the, what is Frauenarzt in English? Gynecologist, so that we can talk to her about her options when it comes to contraceptive. Because when you come here, teenage pregnancy is very, 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 very extremely low. And I was like, hey, 16-year-old. It was like, what? Like, because for us, we don't talk about it. But
we don't talk about it. We cover it.
It doesn't mean it does not exist
in our society. It happens all the time.
It's happening.
But the teachers know. The teachers know. The teachers are chopping. They are knocking our children at home. We don't know. Their classmates are knocking them. Some of them are the ones giving chop money. That's chop money that you gave your child. You think it was enough? Who do you think bought the diaper for your child? The boys at school are the one buying it. It be you where you don't know. It is here. We be boys. I've been a boy before.
We are like ostriches. We want to pretend like reproductive systems do not develop in kids, and we are just at this one place, and that a child will just go through school, and somewhere in their late 20s they will just like
magically. It doesn't happen. These are hard conversations we need to have.
We don't.
Conversations, yeah.
We don't. Personally, nobody ever had those conversations. But I am learning so much from this. Not that we have to take everything. Don't get us wrong, but you have to take everything westernized and add it or bring it into our family context. But sometimes you have to look at the good things that they do and pick those good things and use it to raise your own children. Like he said, creating a space where your child can come to you and talk to you. My friend said we should try this. My friend said we should do this. This boy said he likes me. Then you ask, how did that make you feel? Of course, as a girl, it will make you feel good that somebody is choosing you. We all want to be chosen somehow by somebody. You understand? So it feels good because they are that age where, and I give this advice to my Ghanaian sisters when they come to me, my child is, interested in this boy. And I was like, it's normal. It's very, I'm like, it will be abnormal if your child is 17 and does not like anybody. Like, that would be, but it's very normal, for them to see an opposite sex and be interested in them, So creating this space and having this space.
It's part of the hormonal changes.
Yeah.
You just have to create that space.
My next question to you, what was the one, for me, these were the biggest cultural shocks that I had to like think about and like adopt, or maybe I liked it. I liked the setting of seated at a dining table, eating with my stepson's girlfriend, getting to know her. And later, I think they met her family first before they met us. So it wasn't like something that we just did. It was something that her family did. Her family had already met him around the table, eating and everything, and asked the boy, what are your future plans? Are you in uni? What are you studying? What do you want to do after you're done studying? The father of the girl had gone through all of this. Of course, at the end of the day, he pulled him aside and like, be careful with my daughter. If you do any funny thing with my daughter, I'll let you know that we are coming for you. That kind of setting, yeah? Of course. And I hope my husband will do the same for my girls and tell the guy, be careful, if you mess up here, I'm coming for you. But even if it's as a joke or not, I think having this setting is very important. And that is something I wish we can adopt. But then somebody will say, oh, yes, it's because you're married to a white person, so you're saying, how can you encourage a 19-year-old to be blah, 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 you know? But I don't know. What for you, what is the biggest cultural thing that you had to change inside of you since you became a father? That okay, this one you can't do it with my father, but these people can do it with me.
Plenty. When my wife, the first few months when my wife came over here, I realized that my African, the things I had picked up growing up as a child about parenting, probably mostly from my father or maybe people in our extended families or maybe in society in general, realized that actually they were naturally just, I wanted to run my family like the typical African. And I realized that the first few weeks or months, there were tensions in the marriage, you know.
Natural.
We were just not agreeing. And a lot of the women said, man, did I make the right decision? You know, this is the least thing, you know. Some things when I tried doing it and my wife go, you know, she'll push back. And I'm not talking about fighting per se, like the tension, you know. Then I think I was very honest with myself, and then I sat back and I asked myself, like, what's going on? Is this how marriages are? That is when sometimes, if you have some friends who give you bad advice about marriage, you start looking back and say, oh, they're probably right? Some
on both sides, on the lady's side, on the guy's side.
And the men's side, yeah. So some of the things I wanted to do was to be a control freak, you know, just controlling every aspect, controlling what she even watches on TV, you know, controlling the kind of friends she will have, controlling where my wife is a Catholic, right? And I'm originally a Baptist. But when we came here, we were going to a different church. I was going to a different church. So when she came, I was kind of expecting that, Charlie, my wife come from Ghana. It's every Sunday, follow me, make we go church. You see, I'm going to go to the same church, couple, go hold hand, go. No, but she's a Catholic, Charlie. She wants to go for her mass and all of that. And at the beginning, it was tough. I'm like, but we're married, so we get to go to one church, right?
Have to my church.
My church. And the tensions were coming, and then she too should be strong Catholic.
Those
so
people,
the strong Catholics, you don't easily just swing them. You marry them before. Hey,
no matter what.
And I realized that, Charlie, if I push back like that, I know they work. Because she will go and she'll tell you, say she'll go in mass. So she will go, she'll walk and she'll go. You didn't mind, you carry the cargo, she too should go in mass. Then you go and then you are just sitting in your church, your wife is not there. And there are marriages like that where, you know, the wife goes to a different church, the husband goes. And then a whole lot of different things. And at the initial stage too, I used to compare things a lot. I used to compare. When she came, I used to say, you know, you see how they do things for Canada? I know we saw it. And I realized she didn't like it. Anytime I say, what's up with this? Stop this thing, because it's just getting annoying. Stop this thing, you know? And so many other things, so many things, even how to organize money in terms of my money, her money, how to go with all those things there. There were tensions everywhere. And there are things even with sex, the way we approach sex, our attitude towards sex, I mean, sexual engagement and stuff like that, right? Our expectation around kitchen. You know, I expected food to be ready at all the time. There were times where, you know, I'll come home and maybe what I want to eat is not ready. She made something else and I'm just so angry. These are the early stages in Canada, right here in Canada. There were times where I came home and I didn't eat the food because I'm like, I told you to make me a TZ. You did something else you should have told me. And then we'll just sit. You see us sitting in the living room and nobody's talking to nobody. You know, if that kind of
it takes conscious effort.
Conscious effort, right? She's looking east, you are looking west, and you know, the TV is facing you in the north. Nobody's watching it, right? Early stages of marriage, I had to sit back and ask myself, this thing about marriage is not that easy. But I think the one thing that I did that really helped me is that I was very, very receptive to the Holy Spirit. I tell you this, people, if you are a true man and you want to test your humility, you train yourself to be discerning to that voice that speaks with you. Now, it doesn't even matter if you're not a Christian, you may not be a Christian. That voice is wired to speak with everybody, including even non-believers. We just are too stubborn. We're just too stubborn. We don't listen. That voice speaks to everyone. It speaks to the atheist, the agnostic. It speaks to anyone. It speaks to anybody who doesn't even belong to your faith. We just sometimes are just too prideful. We don't listen.
True.
For me personally, I chose to listen. And the listening, you know, say I just treat some way happen easy. Sometimes you go listen way, you know, you go do some way, as they go, and then you begin to trust and do more. So I chose to listen more. And some of the listeners was that, look, drop that chamber. Drop that African parenting chamber. When I say African parent, I don't want anybody to get me wrong. The excesses, the negatives of how we're raised and we don't like, you don't carry them into your marriage. I don't want people to think that I'm westernized and I don't believe in an African. I am 100% African, but I just don't follow like a cake culture practice and stuff like that. No, I did pick the
Especially if you
where
can see that it's destroying your home.
If he's destroying your home, if he destroyed your own family's home, your father, your mother, he destroyed the marriage, they could carry that thing come your life. Your father did they marry plenty, you know, take care of them, they carry and carry, they can't do the same thing to your wife. Your father did that, he never helped your mother before, you two never they do. Your father never had your mother in front of you, so you two never they do. Like basically these are things we need to question and then bring ask ourselves whether they are worth it. So I had to sit down and ask myself, are these things worth it? And then the Holy Spirit sometimes, I said the Holy Spirit is the man teacher. The Bible they talks that when the Spirit can go teach you the things you already know. It be true. If you be somebody where you be spirit minded, you may not even go to a pastor. The Spirit will teach you. I'm not saying don't go to church. Some people are looking for excuse not to go to church. I'm saying if you are in tune with the Spirit, the Holy Spirit will teach you. As you walk with the Holy Spirit will teach you. We began working on all this, and there were times where we had to have conversations. One of the things we did in our early stages of our marriage, when we started having our little problems here and there, you know, there were times when, you know, Charlie, you honestly will look at it and say the sex is not great. It's not great.
Especially when you have kids involved.
Especially when kids come in, the sex is not great.
Are involved, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Some marriages are sexless. Even if there is sex, nobody's enjoying it. The sex is so dry. Right?
It's true.
Wait a minute. If we don't sit down to have conversation, who will fix this? Who's going to fix it? Are we going to buy Viagra and stuff just to fix this? No, we don't.
No.
We have to sit and... So one of the things I did was, this is where leadership comes in. You don't wait for the woman to be the one to lead. Sometimes the woman, they look for leadership direction from you.
We want to be led.
Hey, they want to be led. We want to be led. And when you lead a woman where she will submit to.
Exactly.
If you lead a woman where I say, well, you know,
we are dying for somebody to come and lead us.
If you lead a woman where she go submit, this one is the natural principle. We have to sit down. And then I told my wife, look, I have a list here. Let's review the list. I need you to have a copy. All the things I do so well, I like you to write them down and rate them for me on a scale of 10. The areas that I'm so terrible that irks you and makes you so angry, write them down. So it do report about me assessment. What me to do? Is this when you come here, the white people them at school, they do the same thing. At the end of the semester, at
the end of the
students have to review their teachers,
evaluate you.
The same way that the teacher is also evaluating the child by giving you. So at the end of the day, the teacher, if fail you, finish it, you go fail the teacher. It's called accountability. See, so my wife had to evaluate me to have finished, evaluate them, and we set a clear goal not to be judgmental. In other words, allow everybody to write how they feel. Don't judge. If you really want the honest, authentic evaluation, allow people to speak. Charlie, if it that the way, you go read some of the things, they say, hey, Charlie, it's no good.
Meanwhile, all this time you are thinking she's the problem.
You are good, hey.
Yeah, you are good and she's the problem.
Some of you try this with your spouses and see. If that time we go see some of the things that your wife will probably write that you are so selfish in bed. The moment you come, you are gone. You sleep.
You are finished.
You don't care about me. You'll be surprised. Say, really? I thought you really enjoyed it. I said, no, I didn't. It was you. But you see, how are we resolving this now? Through communication. Open, transparent, non-judgmental communication. Where everybody, it will be the kind of communication where the moment she's talking, boom. The moment she's talking, shut up, woman, who are you? If you are the type of man who uses these words, I promise you, your marriage, it will make like it will make like something. True man, if you don't want to build your family, you and your wife will start to review your marriage. Every 3 months, you proceed a review. Where can we improve? Financially, what are we doing right? When you do this, you are building that room for you guys to actually build. So I had to draw most of the vibes about our African parenting style, our African men style in marriage that I thought was not good. One of them being bossy. I am a man of authority and influence and leader. but I'm not bossy. A boss orders you to do things, whether they make rational sense or not. A boss sets the standard for you, and he doesn't live by those standards. Me, when I set the standard, I live by the standard. I'm the one to execute first. And when you have that kind of person, you are a leader, you are an authority, you draw people with you. Your wife finds reason to. You don't just tell your wife to go read. At the beginning, I used to, want to see my wife read. I'll grab a book and be reading. I'll be trying to convince her. So look, woman, they love, they read every day. They watch TV show. They watch Mexican. So why? When you talk to your wife like that, do you know what you're doing? You're looking down on her. You're making her feel that she's not intelligent enough to make decisions. You are not allowing her to even watch anything on TV. It's always about you and your Arsenal team where they go lose 4-5-0 tomorrow. See, but you see, when you begin to have open conversations and allow people to see the bigger picture, they easily buy into it.
Yeah.
Right? How about you do this? So, honey, imagine me and you, we are not reading. Now you are not pointing fingers. So you are not saying you are not reading. You say me and you, we
use inclusive language.
Inclusive language. Honey, imagine we are not both doing this. So when we have our kids and we are not doing, what do you think they can also do? How about we start this together, at least for the sake of them? And then you change your face like this. You make your face like mobile, and say, oh, this is my husband. He's very sweet. Oh,
he's so
caring. He's so caring. He really wants a good for our children. Then that was if you don't go rush them. You be the good example. You go to the store to go and buy the books. And when you're buying the books, don't buy the books you want. You buy the books and honey, which book do you want? You involve her and then see whether that woman will go read. You don't force things on people. When you force things on people, they rebel.
They will resist.
We will resist it. We'll resist it. There is a way. You want your child to read, be the one to read. And drop that chamber. When I say drop that chamber, those negative vibe about African style way, no good. Drop them. Even the white people won't say, be all of them will correct. Some of them, good.
No good.
Drop them. Pick the good. As a human being, you only pick the good and you move on with it. You refine it, you add your vibe and you move on with it. That is what I think we should do. And when we do this, our marriages are sweeter. This is not to say that my marriage, give me 1 second there. This is not to say that I never have issues in my marriage or stuff like that. No, there are issues. The most important thing is how do you go about to resolve them, right? When there are issues, I got to take this from the, my gimbal battery is down. My apologies there. Sorry. Okay. No, when there are issues, how do we resolve them? Have those conversations. Guys, I got to be honest with you guys watching me right now. You're looking at Chocolate Millionaire. I'm not perfect. I came from a really, really broken home. My intention is not to create another broken home in this world. I've made so many mistakes, so many as a young boy growing up. God has given multiple chances. You have the opportunity to make this world a better place. All right? Those of us where we just find pleasure in just so everywhere we enter, every hole we enter, they beg. We have a chance to make this world a better place. Our biggest gift to society is by raising amazing kids and family. That is the gift you can give your society. But it starts with you being a man who takes responsibility, a man who leads by example, a man who sees your wife as a partner and not just somebody you have brought in as a maid, a man who sees your children as incredibly gifted kids God has trusted in your care. The Bible says children are a gift. He's gifted them to you. He wants you to be the one to raise them, to make this world. When you look around, see society, mess up society. Why? Mess up families, broken homes. That is why we all mess up today.
Yep.
All right.
And let the church say amen.
Amen. Me, I don't finish. Stay like podcast, so you know me.
Listen, guys, we are almost 2 hours, and there's so much wisdom coming from Chocolate Millionaire. I am so grateful for you taking the time to talk to us. Men, if you're listening, listen. I am a woman and I'm telling you, we want to be led. But we want to be led by true leaders. We want to be led by servant leaders. We don't want to be led by dictators and things like that. Because in the West, you cannot be a dictator in the West. Meet us halfway. And we want, let me tell you, forget about the feminist movement. We want to build homes with you. We want to have families with you. And the goal is to grow old with you once the kids are out and successful. That is what we are looking for. You understand? There's a lot of misunderstanding in our communities, who is right, who is wrong. If you're a man and you're planning to get married abroad because you've jackpot, or you're bringing your wife abroad, listen to this video over and over again. There's so much wisdom from it, and have that understanding that I am building a home, and on this home I am building an empire. Your empire is not going to be built just on your job or the 3-4 work that you're doing. That is not it. Build this empire on your home, your wife. Invest in the relationship with your wife, and invest in the relationship with your children. That is true success. It's not about the cars, it's not about the houses. That is true success, you know. But so many of us miss the point. Thank you so very much, Oko. You know the love is deep. You know.
Love is deep.
You know the love is
deep. You attack me for here. Me, I don't make credit.
But unfortunately, we have to go. It's been 2 hours, guys. I think we have to have a monthly podcast where we talk, because the thing is just flowing out of chocolate like that, you know. Listen, this is church. My man, Jobia collection. What I say? Yeah, follow a hand. I'm going to pass the offering bowl, because this is true church. This is wisdom coming from somebody who has lived it, not afraid to talk about his own experience and use his own experience to teach us how to do better. The same way, I'm not afraid to talk about my experience, because none of us is perfect. And I hate perfectionism, you know, this idea of portraying or pretending to be perfect, or I hate the idea of that, because it creates a picture that people want to follow. It creates a false persona that people want to achieve, and it's annoying. On this platform, we talk about real issues. Thank you. I hope to catch you again for us to talk more about this. There has to be a part 2. Thank you for joining, and a big kiss to the kids for me. And thank your wife that we've taken 2 hours of your time. Now I'm going to release you to go be with them.
Watch. You're not following Just As Nancy. I can assure you that the first time I ever came across a content creator and I felt like she's an exact copy, it was with this woman, right? First time I spoke with her, I told her like it's like, I don't know, you know, when you meet somebody and you're like, Charlie, this be your photocopy. She, you know. So if you're following me, I encourage you to follow her. She's very blunt, straight to the point. She doesn't sugarcoat things, and she'll say that it is, even if it hurts. But
even if it hurts, because you grow, then crocodile skin. We are not afraid of anything here. So we'll catch you guys another time. Thank you very much.
Yes, do this more. Comment, let us know, right?
Yeah, if you want more of this, comment and let us know that you want more of this. We'll bring you more of this.
They share the video, so you don't know, we can collect the offering, the collection.
Yeah.
Is it so we should do this again, right?
Yeah, we'll do this again. Thank you very much, and bye.
Right. Oh, take care.
Bye.